NINJAKEES.
Yo ninjas, welcome back to the show. NINJABOX, Ishhh, how are you doing? And what did you ninjas eat today? Yes. So this video might be quite long and rambling and stuff about party time. So if you want to skip all that boring stuff, go to the timestamp over here. Alright, for those who want to see what I'm talking about here, enjoy the show. NINJABOX, Ishhh,
Tick. Tack.
We're back at the studio and I have a nice coffee here. Alright, let's show you guys what I'm doing with party time. So I'm really busy with this thing for party time for a really long time. Like, and also I guess procrastinating with other stuff. Like doing other stuff in between. Like there's so many tasks that I have to complete. But which one do you do first? And yeah. Like the easy answer is party time, of course. But yeah, then again you have to sometimes do commission or other stuff, you know. But I guess that's like making excuses, right? Yeah. How can you do... Like party time is also a really big project. So it's not like you just do it in one day. But still, it's a big chunk of meat to eat, and like the other ones are smaller meats that you can eat faster and easier. So that's maybe why I do sometimes other stuff in between as well. And yeah, for this stuff I'm really stuck really long in the process where I'm at. It's like the start of party time, the first 6 pages, and it's all about words. An intro, the best intro, or not the best, but like if I make this intro solid, like put it out there for you guys to see, you cannot change it, right? Or well, you can change it, but then it's not the first impression or something. Also, when I'm creating party time, yeah, I'm thinking a lot about redrawing stuff, like, or maybe even start the whole thing over, starting from instead of left to right, what I have now, from right to left, like the Japanese manga, like this, One Punch Man, One Piece, stuff like that. That's reading direction because it's the Japanese way of reading, but also when you do that and your stuff gets popular and things like that, it's like strategizing for the future, right? You have to think in advance because all the steps you take will have a impact on later. Like it's long thinking for the future, because if you like make it from right to left, it's if it gets translated to Japanese, for example, it's right away easy for them to adapt in their market, so to speak, compared to left to right. Well, they probably have stuff that is read from left to right from foreign countries, like maybe DC or Marvel comics translated to Japanese or something, that they can read from left to right. Like for example, Radiant. So I got a copy of my fellow ninja mate of Radiant, or a few copies actually. And this is a French artist, really great. He makes great art. I'm not too sure what the story is about because I cannot read French, and what I can find online, only a few chapters are in English. Yeah, so I only could follow a bit of the story, but I flipped through the pages and it looks really dope, even though I cannot read French. But this dude, I'm not too sure why, but he started from right to left, and that's great because now his manga is also published in the Japanese libraries, so they only had to translate it to Japanese and they could put it right there in the shelves, you know. And okay, manga is maybe worldwide. I want to that people worldwide can read Party Time, for example, But still, in Japan, I think there's the most people that read manga, right? That's the biggest industry, and that's also something to think about when making manga, I think. Like, you can make new steps, of course, like new waves of manga that go from left to right. I guess if you have a great story and great art mixed together, people still love to read it. For example, like, I'm not sure if it's actually manga, like Scott Pilgrim, like it's also from left to right. It's also a bit of a different, he has his own unique art style. Like, it might look simple, but it is a really great read if you get a chance, yeah. And he did also really good. So, yeah, I guess the combination of a great story with the right art style to it is also, yeah, something to consider. And yeah, when I look at some other manga artists and stuff, I think like my stuff is not good enough yet, like not professional or how it should be. And how should it be? Like, if I look at the pros that already are doing it, that is an example for me, like how it should be, because they already made it, you know, they did it. But yeah, maybe you can find other ways as well to reach a certain goal. That goal to get your stuff out there and actually live from it, you know, living from making manga. So that's still where I'm stuck with. This is my journey of making a living out of it and beyond. So it also can be spawned into an anime. That's still one of my biggest dreams, making an anime. But that was actually my first goal, to make an anime series. But then I thought, like, I was inspired, for example, by Dragon Ball. That's the one that mostly inspired me. And it started from manga to anime. So it's like, what I try to do is be the dude that makes the story with the art, and then you're basically the one that let it be adapted to anime if it's good enough, if enough people like it, love it, to read it and want to see it animated, you know. But for making anime, there's more manpower needed. Yeah, you have to, I don't know, like if anime studios or animation studios see a great piece of content that they think is adaptable to anime, they probably would do it. But yeah, in Japan, from what I know so far, there are probably now other ways too in this new time, you know, like new waves of anime manga creators are popping up everywhere from across the world, and people wanting to get their own anime series, and some people already did it or are doing it. So yeah, that's great to get your stuff out there. And you know that one time, the things that inspired you, that you can reach that level, so to speak, at one of the moments in a lifetime, yes. But yeah, with anime comes a lot of manpower and money. Yeah, if you're rich, you probably could easily make an anime, but even so, there are so many animes coming out each year, right? But me personally, I don't like them all. I'm more picky over the years what to watch. So then also the thing is, like, to make a good anime or a story, like if it's adapted from manga, to make something that lasts for years, or that a lot of people enjoy to read. Yeah, there's so many aspects to this. I don't know them all specifically, but yeah, lots of things that come creating manga and anime stuff. Actually, the word for manga is also comics, or strips in Dutch. Strips, how do you say it? Strip panels. Like, yeah, you tell a story with images and text with dialogue and stuff. But what I love about manga is like these expressions you can get in there, and certain epic moments, like when someone punches someone, like with this epic perspective, or that scene, you know, that emotion, it gets into your eyes, like something epic happens. Those moments I love about manga, the expressions, those epic moments, the story. Like even if you have some values that you learn, like you can make your certain values in your manga, for example, and then you know that the readers can read it, have some kind of a impact, influence, I don't know. You can do a lot with manga, you know. There's so many types of manga. That's great. What I love about manga, that it's like a movie. Like there's so many genres. You can make anything into a manga. It is basically a movie on paper. And you're the director, everything, you know. So yeah, when making party time, I think the first chapter, the core needs to be solid, like that you can build from on top of that. Like if the core is not solid, how can you build on it, you know? Like the beginning needs to have a certain solid base that you can build on, like when you make a flat, a building, like the surface, I think, needs to be solid first, because if you build on that surface and it's not solid, it will collapse. And oh, I dropped the manga. Sorry, Radiant. No. Well, still undamaged. I still want to read this, man, but I cannot speak French. But yeah, the building, solid stuff. I think if the floor is not solid enough, then in the end it might collapse, or you have to start a new building and then build on top of it as long until it doesn't collapse, you know. Yeah, that's how I think about creating manga. That if the beginning is not, yeah, like depends on what kind of manga you make, of course. If it's a short story, or like I planned party time to be quite long, maybe that's one of the major mistakes. But as a beginner with it, I also made some short stories, and yeah. But the great thing about manga series, I think, is that you can tell a long story. Like you can tell a lot, like TV series, you know. Like these days there are a lot of TV shows, and then you also have movies. But in the TV shows you have a lot more content to tell your story with. Also with cliffhangers, then that people want to watch the next one. Yeah, series, TV series. I love that stuff because you have a lot of story you can tell with it. I already said that a few times now. But yeah. So yeah. Yo ninjas, here we have a guest, the first, or one of the first beta readers of the first few chapters of Party Time pages. Yo, Eelco, who are you?
Who I am? Yo man, I'm doing pretty good, man. And who I am, I'm just reading. Do you know what I'm reading?
Yeah.
I'm reading the first 12 pages of this thing called something time.
So Eelco, just feedback a bit. So what do you think about it so far?
Yeah, man, I think you should just drop it online and get some people to check it out, and maybe they can understand the storyline. I think it's pretty clear. The storyline so far, you have a great introduction of the story. You actually sort of show what the story is about, and then after a while you actually start with chapter 1, and yeah, I think people are gonna love the shit, man. I mean, they have to first get into it, you know, and I hope that these people have enjoyed parties themselves. That's always a big plus.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, man.
Some great words.
And to be honest, I like the Easter eggs on the page 7 and 8, where you see the shadows of the revelers.
Uh-huh.
and I just noticed some of them are actually on the tower. So for those checking it out, check it out.
Oh shit, spoilers.
Oh.
Easter eggs.
No spoilers. Spoilers.
Yeah, so yeah, most of it is I got good feedback from Eelco, and like I've written the grammar of heart that needs to be changed, and last to current. So there were 2 words, yeah, and that yeah, need to change so far. And
do you know when you are gonna drop it online? You know the time and the date?
Yeah, the plan is to drop it as soon as possible, so changing the heart and last, so probably when you hear this voice of us speaking here, it's online.
Oh shit, so where can I find it?
On ninjakees.com/partytime.
Oh. /partytime. Oh yeah, man. Ooh.
Already got a few pages there, but not all of these that we just spoke about.
Of course.
But when you see this, they will be there, so check it out.
Yeah! Do so before you fall to sleep, and then you will have sweet, sweet dreams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah!
Alright, thank you very much, Eelco, for giving the feedback.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
It's great to have that feedback, you know, like more eyeballs. Yeah, might also.
Yeah. You know, they used to say the more souls, the merrier.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the more eyeballs, the merrier.
All the eyeballs.
Gotta catch them all.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
So this was Eelco, and yes, thank you, Eelco.
Yeah, thank you, man. And have fun with it, man.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot to tell you, ninjas. I also made a Patreon. I haven't really advertised it or told people about it yet, but right over here, you can check out the Patreon that I've created. It's still in beta testing. Still have to yeah, upgrade it, but there's basic stuff for it. What you can become a Patreon for right now is become the first party star, meaning that if you're one of the first 13 that become a Patreon on Patreon. Patreon basically means that you support me. You can. It's a platform where you can support creators by giving a single dollar at least per month or per project. Yeah, I now did it per month, and what it means, what the reward is for doing that, like the first 13, their name will be in a special page. So I make one separate page with all the 13 first Patreons for each, or at least let's first do it for the first manga chapter. The plan is for doing it for each manga chapter of Party Time, so that at the end of the credits there's a page, a full page, a manga page, sized page, like how a normal manga page that I create, the size of that. So all the 13 first ones will be a bit bigger in a special frame, or so, yeah, so to speak. So all the 13 will be there nicely in a row, with their names, yeah, that they have on Patreon. I don't want to have offensive names or something like that, but I guess you guys know stuff like that, right? That, yeah. But so their names will be on the first 13 list, and also at each of the end of each Party Time video, meaning this video is also Party Time video. So at the end of the credits, yeah, the name will also be in the video a bit bigger. The first 13 will be a bit bigger, and then the next 130 names, and then after that the next 1300. Still have to figure out if all those names will fit at what size, you know, like what's the size, how to fit certain amount of names. But basically, when the 13 are filled up, then the 130 will also get their names on a page, depending on if it fits on one manga page, or maybe have to split a bit, but it will be a bit smaller with the names, depending on yeah, how many people will come at times. But yeah, so each person right now that yeah, supports Party Time or me as a creator for a single $1 on Patreon, their name will be in the credits of at the end of each manga chapter of that month that they supported, and at the end of each Party Time video for YouTube. And also, if there is not a manga chapter come out the current month, like that you supported it, your name will be placed to the next month, and only the first 13 have 13 slots on Patreon, and then when those are filled up, let's say someone leaves later, you can always leave at Patreon when you want, then that slot is open, so the first one that sees that can take their place. And then when the 13 are filled up, the 130 will be filled up, and then later, like, the more people come, yeah, so, but also check out yourself which spot you want to take, yeah, if you want to do it at least, so you can check it at the link or down in the description for that. So yeah, probably have to do a separate video about Patreon, like explaining exactly what it is and what I plan to do with it. So far I'm still in the beta test, and if you guys have any suggestions, or yeah, I still already planned some rewards for later, but that's not right now needed yet, I believe. Like, it's still, yeah, have to work on that as we speak. But if you guys have any ideas for Patreon rewards and stuff, just drop them down. And yeah, thank you ninjas, and also thank you very much Tinkerbella for the first Patreon, NINJABOX digitally, and yes, really awesome, thank you very much. And yeah, ninjas, that's it for the Patreon stuff. Thank you very much, ninjas, for watching this video. NINJABOX diddly, and see you guys the next time. Case out!
Choose your ways for more NINJAKEES.
Become a ninja.
You can seek me anywhere by the name NINJAKEES. Sneak in the arena in his